The sun is barely dipping below the horizon, casting an amber glow through the sheer curtains of our bedroom window. I fumble with my keys at the front door, juggling the grocery bags in my other hand. A long day at work has left me weary, but the thought of seeing my wife, Sarah, rejuvenates me. I picture her smile, the crinkle at the corners of her eyes, the warmth in her gaze. As I step into the house, the familiar scent of lavender and vanilla greets me. It's quiet, too quiet. Normally, Sarah would be bustling around, her laughter echoing through the halls, or the soft hum of music playing from the living room. But today, there's an unsettling stillness. I call out, "Sarah? I'm home." No response. My heart starts to beat a little faster, an inexplicable sense of foreboding creeping in. I make my way through the hallway, noticing the bedroom door slightly ajar. A strange noise reaches my ears, a mix of muffled sounds and something else I can't quite place. I inch closer, the sounds becoming clearer with each step. My mind races, and a cold sweat breaks out on my forehead. As I push the door open, the scene before me hits like a punch to the gut. There she is, my wife, sitting contentedly on the bed, her hair tousled and her clothes disheveled. But it's the man beside her that makes my blood run cold. He's completely naked, jumping on one of those very adult toys. The sight is surreal, like something out of a nightmare. "Sarah?" My voice comes out as a strangled whisper. She looks up, her eyes wide with surprise and a hint of guilt. The man beside her stops abruptly, his face turning pale. "What the hell is going on here?" I demand, my voice rising with each word. Sarah stands up, her demeanor shifting from surprise to defiance. "Jack, I can explain." "Explain?" I echo, disbelief and anger churning inside me. "Explain what?" "That you've been cheating on me. That you've been using these things behind my back." The man grabs his clothes and makes a hasty exit, muttering apologies as he scrambles out of the room. I barely notice him leave, my focus entirely on Sarah. "Things behind my back? Please, just listen," she pleads, stepping towards me. But I can't listen. My mind is a whirlwind of betrayal, hurt, and fury. "How long, Sarah? How long have you been doing this?" She hesitates, and that's all the answer I need. I turn away, unable to look at her. "I thought we were happy. I thought I was enough." Tears well up in her eyes, but I don't care. The damage is done. I grab my keys and head for the door. "I'm leaving. Don't expect me back." "Jack, wait," she cries, but I don't stop. I can't. The pain is too raw, too fresh. As I drive aimlessly through the streets, the reality of what I've seen sinks in. My wife, the woman I loved and trusted, has been unfaithful. The image of her and that man burns in my mind, a constant reminder of her betrayal. I want to hurt her, to make her feel the same pain she's inflicted on me. I pull over to the side of the road, my hands shaking. I need a plan. I need to get back at her, to show her that she can't just destroy our life together and get away with it. But how? The answer comes to me slowly, like a poison seeping into my thoughts. I'll break her life, just like she broke mine. I'll make sure she regrets every moment she spent betraying me. Divorce is just the beginning. She won't see it coming, and by the time she realizes, it'll be too late. With a newfound resolve, I head back home. The house feels empty, like a hollow shell of what it once was. I gather my things, packing a suitcase with the essentials. Sarah is nowhere to be seen, probably hiding in shame. Good. As I leave the house, I take one last look around. This was supposed to be our sanctuary, our home. But now, it's just a place of betrayal and lies. I slam the door behind me, the sound echoing in the silent night. The road ahead is uncertain, but one thing is clear, I won't let her get away with this. I will reclaim my life, piece by piece, and she will pay for her infidelity. This is just the beginning of my revenge. The early morning sun casts a soft glow over the city as I sit in a small, cluttered cafe, nursing a cup of black coffee. The bitterness matches my mood perfectly. I stare at the swirling liquid, replaying last night's events in my mind. My phone buzzes on the table, pulling me back to the present. It's my best friend, Mark. "Hey, Jack. You all right? You sounded off when you called last night," Mark's voice crackles through the speaker. "Meet me at the cafe on Elm Street." "I need to talk," I reply, trying to keep my voice steady. 15 minutes later, Mark walks through the door, his tall frame and scruffy appearance a comforting sight. He slides into the booth opposite me, concern etched on his face. "What's going on, man?" "You look like hell," he says, leaning forward. I take a deep breath and tell him everything about Sarah, the guy, the betrayal. His expression shifts from concern to anger as I recount the details. I don't even know what to say, he finally mutters, shaking his head. "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to make her pay," I say, my voice cold and determined. "I can't just let her get away with this." Mark looks at me, his brow furrowing. "You sure about that?" "Revenge can be a dark path, Jack." "I've never been more sure of anything in my life," I reply, the bitterness seeping into my voice. Mark sighs, running a hand through his hair. "All right, if you're set on this, you need a plan. Something that'll hit her where it hurts, but won't come back to bite you." We spend the next few hours brainstorming, throwing around ideas and discarding most of them. Finally, we settle on something that seems feasible and impactful. I'll target her finances and reputation. "Remember Sarah's friend, Emily? The one who works at the bank?" Mark asks, a sly smile forming on his lips. "Yeah, I remember her." "Why?" I ask, intrigued. "She owes me a favor." "I'm sure she can help us with the financial part," he says, pulling out his phone. "Let me make a call." While Mark arranges a meeting with Emily, I feel a sense of grim satisfaction. This is the first step towards reclaiming my life. Later that day, we meet Emily at a quiet park. She's a petite woman with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. After Mark explains the situation, she looks at me with a mixture of sympathy and determination. "Jack, I'm really sorry about what you're going through. I'll help you, but you need to be careful. This could get messy," she warns. "I understand, Emily. Just tell me what I need to do," I reply, my resolve unwavering. She outlines a plan to discreetly drain Sarah's accounts over the next few weeks. It's risky, but with Emily's insider knowledge, it's possible. "Remember, you need to keep this under the radar. If she catches wind of it, all bets are off," Emily says, handing me a burner phone to communicate securely. Over the next few weeks, things start to fall into place. Emily provides regular updates, and I watch as Sarah's financial situation slowly deteriorates. She starts to notice, of course. One night, she calls me, her voice frantic and desperate. "Jack, something's wrong with my accounts. I don't know what's happening, but money is disappearing," she cries. I force myself to remain calm, masking the satisfaction bubbling beneath the surface. "I'm sorry to hear that, Sarah. Maybe you should talk to your bank," I suggest, knowing full well it's a dead end. She's silent for a moment, then her tone shifts, becoming accusatory. "Are you behind this? Did you do something to my accounts?" "Why would I do that?" I ask, feigning innocence. "You're the one who betrayed me, remember?" She hangs up, frustration and fear evident in her voice. I can almost picture her pacing the living room, trying to figure out what's happening. As the days go by, her distress grows. She starts missing work, her usually impeccable appearance becoming disheveled. Her friends notice, whispering behind her back, and her reputation begins to suffer. It's a slow, painful unraveling, and I take grim satisfaction in every moment of it. But it's not enough. I need to make sure she understands the full extent of her betrayal. I need her to feel the same pain she's caused me. One evening, As I'm plotting my next move, Mark calls. "Jack, there's something you need to know." I ran into Sarah's guy, the one from that night. Turns out, he's not just some random fling. He's her boss. The revelation hits me like a punch to the gut. Her boss? I echo, my mind racing. This just keeps getting better. Mark chuckles darkly. Thought you'd like that. Imagine what his wife and his company would think if they knew. An idea starts to form, a way to escalate my revenge. I'll expose their affair, not just to his wife, but to the entire company. It's risky, but the potential fallout is too satisfying to resist. Let's do it, I say, my voice filled with determination. It's time for Sarah to face the consequences of her actions. As I hang up, I feel a sense of grim satisfaction. The plan is in motion, and there's no turning back now. This is just the beginning of her downfall, and I'm ready to see it through to the end. The plan is set. All I need now is the right moment to execute it. The next morning, I sit at my desk, staring at the computer screen, going over the details one more time. The email is drafted, the attachments ready. I've gathered enough evidence to make sure Sarah's affair with her boss will leave a lasting impact. Mark calls to check in. "Hey, Jack. You ready for this?" There's no turning back once you hit send. "I know," I reply, taking a deep breath. "But she needs to face the consequences." "All right. Just be careful, man. This could get messy." "Thanks, Mark. I'll handle it." After we hang up, I gather my courage and click send. The email, complete with photos and messages between Sarah and her boss, is sent to the HR department of her company, as well as to his wife. Now, all I can do is wait. A few days later, the fallout begins. It starts with a call from Sarah. She's frantic, her voice shaking with anger and fear. "Jack, what did you do?" she screams into the phone. "I don't know what you're talking about," I reply calmly, though my heart is racing. "Don't play dumb. You sent those emails. My boss got fired, and his wife left him. And now they're investigating me at work. How could you do this?" I can't help but feel a twisted sense of satisfaction. "You brought this on yourself, Sarah. You made your choices. Now you have to live with the consequences." She hangs up, leaving me with a sense of grim victory. But the day is far from over. Later that afternoon, I get a call from Emily. "Jack, we need to talk. Can you meet me at the park?" "Sure, I'll be there in 20 minutes, I reply, a knot forming in my stomach. When I arrive, Emily is pacing near a bench. She looks up as I approach, her expression serious. "What's going on?" I ask, concern creeping into my voice. "Jack, this has gone too far. Sarah's company is launching a full investigation. They're looking into all her accounts, and it's only a matter of time before they find the tampering," she says, her voice low. "What do you mean? Can't you cover it up?" I ask, panic rising. "No, it's too late for that. They've brought in outside auditors. If they trace it back to me, I'm finished. And you could face legal consequences too," she explains, her eyes filled with worry. I run a hand through my hair, trying to think. What do we do? "We need to come clean. I'll say I was coerced into it. Maybe we can minimize the damage," she suggests, though she doesn't sound hopeful. "I can't do that. I can't let her win," I protest, though I know she's right. "Jack, this isn't just about you anymore. We're all at risk," she says, her voice firm. I sigh, feeling the weight of my actions pressing down on me. "All right. Let's go to the authorities together. We'll figure this out." The next morning, we head to the police station. Chest as we walk through the doors. Emily goes first, explaining her involvement and the situation. I follow, detailing my motivations and the steps I took. The officers listen, their expressions unreadable. After what feels like hours, they finally speak. This is a serious matter. You've committed several crimes, and there will be consequences. However, since you've come forward voluntarily, it may help your case, one of the officers says. We're taken into custody, and the reality of my situation hits me like a ton of bricks. I've let my anger and need for revenge consume me, and now I'm paying the price. Days turn into weeks as the legal process unfolds. Sarah's company decides not to press charges against Emily, seeing her as a victim of coercion. However, I'm not so lucky. I face charges of identity theft and fraud, among others. The trial is grueling, but eventually, I'm sentenced to community service and probation. Mark visits me after the sentencing, his expression a mix of sympathy and disappointment. I warned you, Jack. Revenge is a dark path. I know, I reply, my voice heavy with regret. I couldn't let her get away with it. I get it, man. But now you have to rebuild your life. Focus on that, he advises, patting my shoulder. As the months pass, I try to piece my life back together. I find a new job, a modest place to live, and start attending therapy to deal with my anger and pain. The process is slow, but each day brings a small measure of healing. One afternoon, I run into Sarah at a coffee shop. She looks different, tired, worn down. We lock eyes, and for a moment, it's like time stands still. Jack, she says, her voice soft. Sarah, I reply, not knowing what else to say. She sighs, looking away. I'm sorry. For everything. I am too, I say, surprising myself with the sincerity in my voice. We stand there in awkward silence for a moment before she finally turns to leave. As she walks away, I realize that while the scars of betrayal will always be there, it's time to let go of the past and focus on the future. Life is a series of choices and consequences. I've made my choices, and I've faced my consequences. Now, it's time to move forward, one step at a time. Months have passed since the trial, and my life is starting to find a new rhythm. I've thrown myself into work, trying to rebuild from the ruins of my past mistakes. Therapy sessions help, but the pain of Sarah's betrayal still lingers like an open wound. I haven't seen or spoken to her since our brief encounter at the coffee shop, and part of me hopes I never will. One evening, as I'm closing up at work, my phone buzzes with a message from an unknown number. It's a simple text, "We need to talk. Meet me at the old warehouse. 8 p.m. My heart races. Sarah. What could she possibly want now? Curiosity and a strange sense of foreboding compel me to go. I arrive at the warehouse, a dilapidated building on the outskirts of town, just as the sun sets. The place is deserted, shadows stretching across the cracked pavement. I push open the rusted door and step inside. The air is thick with dust and the smell of decay. In the dim light, I see Sarah standing near a stack of old crates. She looks nervous, wringing her hands. Jack, thank you for coming, she says, her voice trembling. What do you want, Sarah? I ask, trying to keep my voice steady. There's something you need to know. About everything that happened, she begins, but before she can continue, another figure steps out from the shadows. It's her boss, the man I exposed. He looks as smug and arrogant as ever. Hello, Jack. Long time no see, he sneers. What's going on here? I demand, my anger rising. Sarah takes a deep breath, her eyes filled with a mix of fear and resolve. Jack, you need to know the truth. The whole thing, it was all a setup. The affair, the betrayal. We staged it. What? I stagger back, the revelation hitting me like a punch to the gut. Why? To ruin you, her boss says, stepping closer. You were getting too close, asking too many questions at work. We needed you out of the way. So, we concocted this plan. Sarah seduced you, then we orchestrated the affair to provoke you into doing something reckless. I can barely process his words, my mind reeling. You used me? Sarah's eyes fill with tears. I didn't want to, Jack. But he had something on me. I had no choice. Had no choice? You destroyed my life. I shout, my voice echoing through the empty warehouse. It was all for a bigger cause, her boss interjects, a sinister smile playing on his lips. We needed you out of the way to finalize some very lucrative deals. And now, you're nothing but a distant memory. My fists clench, rage bubbling inside me. You'll pay for this. Both of you. Will we? He taunts. Look around, Jack. There's no one here to help you. No one who cares. In that moment, something inside me snaps. I lunge at him, fists flying, but he's ready. We grapple, crashing into crates and sending dust flying. Sarah screams, trying to pull us apart, but we're beyond reason. The fight is brutal, fueled by months of pent-up anger and betrayal. Finally, I manage to pin him to the ground, my fists pounding his face. You ruined my life. I shout, each punch driving home my words. Jack, stop! Sarah cries, pulling at my arm. You're going to kill him. Her words penetrate the haze of my fury, and I stop, breathing heavily. I look down at him, bloodied and beaten, and feel no satisfaction. Only emptiness. I stand up, shaking off Sarah's hand. We're done. Both of you. I never want to see either of you again. Jack, please, Sarah pleads, but I cut her off. Save it. You made your choices. Now live with them, I say coldly. I turn and walk away, leaving them in the ruins of our confrontation. As I step out into the cool night air, I feel a strange sense of release. The weight of my anger and pain lifts, replaced by a grim resolve. The following weeks are a blur. I file a report with the authorities, detailing the conspiracy against me. Sarah and her boss face charges of conspiracy and fraud. The trial is swift, and they're both sentenced to prison. I move on, focusing on rebuilding my life with a renewed sense of purpose. The past is a painful scar, but it no longer defines me. I find solace in my work, in therapy, and in the support of friends like Mark. One day, as I'm walking through the park, I run into Emily. She looks healthier, more at peace. Hey, Jack, she says, smiling. How are you holding up? I'm getting there, I reply, smiling back. One day at a time. She nods, understanding. If you ever need anything, you know where to find me. Thanks, Emily. For everything. We part ways, and as I walk away, I feel a sense of closure. The chapter of Sarah and her betrayal is finally over. I've faced my demons and come out stronger. Life is a series of choices and consequences. I've made mine, and now I'm moving forward, leaving the past behind. The road ahead is uncertain, but it's mine to navigate. And that's enough. As I leave the park, the sun sets behind me, casting a warm glow on the path ahead. It's a new beginning, and I'm ready to embrace it.